Hi, I'm Art Kaplan. I'm at the Division of Medical Ethics at the NYU Grossman School of Medicine in New York City. I heard recently about a fascinating, important development in AI. All kinds of things are happening in artificial intelligence. Clearly, it's being used in the background to trace and keep track of medical information inside hospitals. There are AI uh, bots out there that are starting to talk to patients about, say, mental health issues. Plenty of people are using artificial intelligence to get information about their medical condition, seeing it supplement search engines, and on AI goes. But it has entered into a space where I think patients may raise questions about whether they should use it, seek opinions from doctors and nurses, particularly those involved with seriously ill people. And that space is grieving. That space is what might be called death bots. And here's what's going on. There was a gentleman I read about online, who was dying of end stage colon cancer. And his wife and he were talking, knowing his death was coming, about what it would be like post his death. She said she would really miss being able to ask him questions about a variety of topics that he was expert at, that he knew very well. And he thought about it and decided, well, maybe he could record his voice and then use artificial intelligence to search information that he would tape, would record, and have available, which could really address questions that his wife might put to him, quote unquote, once he was gone. It turns out that a company was formed shortly thereafter, which is now offering the service both in the US and Europe. In fact, I think perhaps even worldwide, basically saying we'll record a dying person's voice. We will help people grieve by allowing people to interact with the artificial intelligence version of the departed when they're gone. It will be able to, if you will, search their not just recorded information, but anything they might have online, diaries, things they may have written, maybe earlier videos and information from earlier parts of their life, and generate up plausible answers to questions that might be put to the artificial version of the deceased. Obviously, this would allow not only spouses, but grandchildren, people in future generations to have some way to interact with an ancestor who's gone. It may allow people to feel comfort when they miss a loved one, to hear their voice and hear the voice not just in a pre recorded way, but creatively interacting with them. On the other hand, there are clearly a lot of ethical issues about creating an artificial version of yourself. One obvious issue is, how accurate will this artificial intelligence version of you be? If the death bot can create information that sounds like you, but really isn't what you would have said, despite the effort to glean it from recordings and past information about you, is it all right if people sort of wander from the truth in trying to interact with someone who's died? There are other ways to leave memories behind. You certainly can record messages and just do so that you control the content, and many people do. They video themselves and so on. And there are obviously people who would say, I have a diary, I have written information that I can leave behind. So, is there a place in terms of accuracy for a kind of artificial? Is there a place in terms of accuracy for a kind of artificial version of ourselves to go on forever? Another interesting issue is, who controls that? Can you add to it after your death? Can information be shared about you with third parties who don't sign up for the service. Maybe the police take an interest in how you died, or you can imagine many scenarios where questions might come up about wanting to access this data that the artificial agent is providing. And then some people might say, look, it's just not the way to grieve. Maybe the best way to grieve is to accept death, not try to interact with a kind of constructed version of yourself once you've passed. That isn't really accepting death. It's a form perhaps of denial of death. And maybe that isn't going to be good for the mental health of survivors who really have not come to terms with the fact that someone has passed on. Well, I'm not against these death bots or artificial intelligence versions of trying to leave a legacy. There are all kinds of legacies that people might want to leave this technology, while perhaps not 100% accurate. I can see how it has a use. I do think one has to go in eyes open. We need consent before anything like this is really purchased or bought or sold to surviving people. They really have to understand it may not be an accurate version of what the deceased might have really said in response to questions or conversations or interactions. And I think we need to know who controls the information, who could erase it, who could say, I'm done with it and I don't want my husband's artificial intelligence to go on anymore. But all that said, it's an interesting development in a world in which I think those who are very ill might start to plan to leave a legacy that is more than just a diary, more than just a video message. It becomes a kind of ongoing, artificial, interactive version of themselves that may provide some people with comfort. I'm Art Caplan at the Division of Medical Ethics at the NYU Grossman School of Medicine. Thanks for watching.